All right, y'all. Look, check this out. This is WolfTix Radio, y'all. And I just wanted to say rest in peace to Valletta Wallace's Biggie Smalls' mom. We're pretty much on a week or so past the now where are we at? It was 97. This is 18 years, 17 years, 18 years from Biggie passing. So um yeah, 97 to 2007, 17, 25, 20, 27 years. Biggie passed. I'm tripping. I'm a decade off. Biggie passed. I would say, yeah. I mean, that was a monumental moment for hip hop, and R.I.P. to him. And Puffy is on his way out of here because everyone knows that Puff, and let's just go with the legal thing, allegedly, everyone knows that Puff um, had something to do with that whole little situation because he was the main one to benefit. When Pac passed, now Pac passed away, but Suge, he didn't really benefit from Pac passing, in all honesty. You just look at the two and you could see for yourself. But right now, I'm just bringing up Biggie because I wanted to mention his song "Going Back to Cali," and I liked the song. When I first heard it, I was like, "This is different." I think he was trying to mock the West Coast, but I liked it. And then when he died, I was like, "Oh, damn, that's kind of messed up." But the irony, he shouldn't have went to Cali.
You do realize he wasn't mocking Cali. He was mocking LL Cool J.
Well, that's where I was going with the story because him saying I'm going back to Cali. Damn, why is my vocal so loud? Him saying I'm going back to Cali. That's kind of what I was insinuating because let's go back to Who Shot Ya. People thought Who Shot Ya was talking about Pac. Even Pac thought Who Shot Ya was talking about Pac, but
it wasn't.
Who Shot Ya was talking about LL Cool J.
Exactly.
Right. And then and LL dropped I Shot Ya, which is kind of like his response. But this was after Biggie had passed.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. So I knew going back to Cali. Well, that's what I wanted to talk about. I was like, was going back to Cali a diss to LL? Now,
Absolutely.
LL has roots in Cali, even though he was born in, or he's from Long Island. He hails from New York, but I know his cousin Moffler from Uncle Jam's Army. How you think LL got to LA? There was a whole incident where LL thought he was a blood, and he got into it at the World on Wheels skating rink, and it was a whole rumble. There was some Crips up there. They was ready to stomp LL out, but that's because Moffler and them cats from Uncle Jam's Army, those were his family. That's his people, and most of Uncle Jam's Army were bloods. A lot of people don't know that Denver Lanes, but yeah. So Biggie dropping going back to Cali
Was no different than Sean Carter dropping 99 Problems and refusing to acknowledge Ice-T for it.
Yeah.
All of the up and comings always took a swipe at the guys who were the legends, the pillars. They all did. Cannabis tried to come for KRS-One. That was a mistake.
Yeah.
Kenny Parker sat him down with one line. That's all it took was one line. He didn't even do a whole diss track. He just said one line. That was it. Man, those were the days.
Yeah, like
KRS was that dude.
yeah. Shout out to KRS-One, even though I just dogged him out for not knowing who Uncle Jam's Army was. When I saw him, I gave him my documentary, not to toot my own horn, but it's a West Coast hip hop documentary. Black Dot, shout out to Black Dot. He's the one that was like, bro, you definitely need to do this. Siddiqui was the one that really put the fire underneath me and said, do it, because there's no documentary out there like this, and there still hasn't been a documentary out there like this. But KRS One was schooled when he sat down with Egyptian Lover and Disco Daddy, one of the first West Coast rappers to really get a record deal. And they were both telling him about Uncle Jam's Army and World Class Wrecking Crew and everything that I had in my doc. And I literally gave it to the Blast Master, like, yo, here, when I met him. But anyway, KRS One is still the teacher. Can't take nothing away from him. But that was me turning in my homework. I'll just say it like that. Yeah. Cali, Going Back to Cali. Because that's really what I'm basing this conversation on. The Going Back to Cali record, LL's version, dropped 88, 89. And that record was crazy when it came out. Especially out here, even though, I mean, it was funk, but it wasn't like West Coast funk. It's still a dope record. It's still one of my favorite records by LL. And then Biggie dropped it, and I hate to say it, like I said, the irony, because of what happened. His demise was in California.
Was it irony?
Was it?
You know, the thing that trips me out is everybody wants to believe the story of Biggie and Diddy being the best of friends, but they weren't. They never were. And when you listen and you think of Mother Wallace talking about how she was able, how Diddy was able to buy her son's loyalty with a check for $25,000. To me, no matter how much he was struggling, and even if he wasn't getting a lot of money, it had to be more than a $25,000 check. And when you think about the kind of guy that Diddy is and all of the tapes that he had, why has nobody ever considered that Diddy might have blackmailed Biggie into that deal?
Yeah.
Because that would create enough loyalty. And the truth is, the both of them talked about each other like a dog behind each other's backs. But there was a reason why Diddy didn't sign Junior Mafia to Bad Boy.
Right.
Because Clive said no.
Yeah. Yeah. Because Clive was, yeah.
Because Clive knew that if Junior Mafia had signed, it would have been easy for Biggie to take over Bad Boy and push Diddy out.
Right.
Just like Diddy fixing up Biggie with Faith rather than just letting him rock out with Kim.
Right.
Because the truth is, they would have been the first man and first lady of hip hop.
And that would have been a dope,
rather than Jay-Z and Beyonce.
That would have been a dope dynamic. You get what I'm saying?
Think about that. Because Biggie was gone, that was no longer possible. And guess what? After that, it would have been Dame and Aaliyah. But see, she's not here, so that wasn't possible. And who was right there? You know, when you look at it, the people who gained most from the greatest losses in hip-hop were Diddy and Jay-Z.
Exactly.
And just like Gene said, they were a package deal. You couldn't get one without the other. Do you remember when I was telling the story about the movie Kiss the Girls?
No.
And how Morgan Freeman's character was brought in to hunt a group of serial unalivers, right? And as they were doing their investigation, he bumped into a survivor that got away from this guy they were hunting. And so she became the most valuable component in, the entire investigation, because she was on the inside and she saw what was going in, but she got away, right?
Yeah.
But the PTSD from what she experienced, the abuse, the essay, the belittling, the degrading humiliation rituals and such. Between the PTSD and the survivor's remorse, she couldn't let it go. Like, she got away. She could have just moved, changed her name, you know what I mean? Started her life fresh. She didn't have to. But she needed to be a part of that investigation because she felt so bad, because she left everyone behind. See? So, they thought initially it was random because victims were being found unalived in random patterns of when they disappeared. And what threw it off was this guy had a harem. He was collecting multiple women at different times, and he was keeping them just there, like a zoo of women, just for him. His own little petting zoo of women. So when they found this witness who got away, she was able to tell them about all the other girls, and they started showing her stuff. She was like, I talked to her, oh my God, you know? So now they think they got something, so they're looking for this guy. But then other crimes, similar crimes, are popping up in California. Almost same MO, but different somehow. And so they took the witness that got away with them to check out this other case and see if they could find if this is the guy. And when they found him, it wasn't. But what they found was that he wasn't working alone, because he had all of the pictures of all of the victims from the East Coast where they started. It was two all along. They were comparing this story to, you ever heard of Leopold and Loeb? Competing, you know, crazy guys. Competing to see if they could commit the same kind of crime and who could do it better. Who had a better style? Who was more elusive? It was a whole game for them. And it was just the two of them playing. All of those poor victims. In the end, they got the sloppy one first. That would be the one like Diddy. And then that sloppy one let him back to the initial, who was the brains behind the whole operation. He was the one that kept everything neat. The other guy was sloppy and wild, had great impulse control. Guess what that other guy ended up being? A police detective. He was working on the investigation right there in front of him. The thing that confirmed it was the initial unaliver. He had really lovely penmanship, but he would sign his name with a certain little, flair, a little, tattoo on it. 2 squiggly lines, 2 dots, right? When the detective really started paying attention that they brought in, he put that on all of the police reports that they finally signed his name with the little thing. They were sitting there looking at it the whole time. They didn't even pay attention. Now tell me, that story doesn't sound like the relationship between Diddy and Jay-Z. I think people have a hard time dealing with the fact that for some people, harm is sport. Or am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. Diddy didn't want Biggie to venture off and do his thing, so he cut him. And yeah, the people who benefited from Biggie not being the real king of hip hop as he should have is Jay-Z, because no one wanted to sign Jay-Z. He signed himself. He did a song with Biggie. I remember that song, Brooklyn's Finest. It was a dope song. But he was no match. Jay-Z was no match for Biggie. If Biggie would have been able to get in his bag and do his thing, he definitely been the king of New York. I'm gonna bring it back down because I didn't so just keep this conversation short, because this just is WolfTix radio. The subject at hand was Going Back to Cali, and it was Biggie's version of Going Back to Cali versus LL's version. But we started talking about his demise and who was behind it and who benefited from it. But overall, I was shouting out Biggie, shouting out LL. Both songs are dope. But Biggie did get cut short. And Biggie's song, I now in retrospect, not being a hater or nothing, Biggie's song was better than LL's, but I still love LL's version. Shout out to LL. My brother was in his Stand By Your Man video back in the day. I remember they was filming it right over there off of 63rd or 67th in Crenshaw. And LL's a cool dude. Biggie, man, that's a cold part. I'm gonna do another topic about that, where what if Biggie would have just lived, and who would he shouldn't have signed a Bad Boy. I hate to say it like that. I don't know who could have housed him. Who do you think?
$5,000.
Yeah. No, heck no.
Like I said, why has nobody ever thought that maybe he got blackmailed into that deal?
Well, there was rumors that, I don't want to get into it, but yeah.
Yeah, but not only that, he was involved in street stuff.
Oh yeah, of course.
And now that we're looking at the fact that it's really becoming quite obvious that law enforcement has been pushing hip-hop cops and the hip-hop agenda all of this time, who's to say that Biggie didn't have a case that he thought he walked away from? I mean, a surefire way to get somebody to do something is you catch a case and they know you did it, and you got a cop that's keeping it quiet for you. Otherwise, you could go to prison. I could see somebody accepting a contract for $25K so they didn't have to do 25 years too. Like, a lot of people keep trying to push this, Diddy got a freak off tape with Biggie. I don't want to put that on Big. I just don't. I don't know. I mean, I seen Biggie with a lot of chicks, but that don't mean anything either. And yet, I just really think, when you think of all of the cops that are now being exposed as being a part of the Combs enterprise, considering that his father was a snitch, I just think it was real easy for Puffy to collect a lot of street sense that could get a 20-something-year-old man to make an agreement that he didn't want to make for so much less than what he was worth, to avoid spending 20 years in jail, because if he goes to jail, he ain't getting it done either, is he? That's a good checkmate, ain't it?
Yeah. On that note, I guess we're gonna have to revamp this conversation, because yeah, Going Back to Cali, he shouldn't have went to Bad Boy, he shouldn't have went to Cali, but that's no disrespect to B.I.G. May he rest in peace. But you know, the what ifs, no pun intended, the what ifs with this hip hop shit. I hate to go there and, you know, be there, but yeah, WolfTix radio, revamping the pods, and if you want to be a part of it, go to YouTube and search Set in the West Doc. I'm gonna start making this thing interactive. That's what we gotta do, because the conversation, like I said, hip hop is a participating sport. You're not just gonna be on the sidelines. You gotta participate. So you want to participate in this conversation, that's what you do. Wolf Tickets with special guest Jaguar Wright. Now we gotta produce a bunch of her pods right now. That's what we on right now. But you tune in to Wolf Tickets, and yeah, that's what it is. We out.